The neon sign of Rosie's Diner flickered against rain-soaked Brooklyn streets, casting blood-red shadows through the windows. Mia Russo wiped down the counter for the 100th time, her hands moving on autopilot. At 24, she'd perfected the art of survival. Head down, work hard, pay another impossible hospital bill. Her mother, Elena, was dying. Stage 4 cancer didn't care about empty bank accounts or unanswered prayers. All Elena had was morphine and a velvet box she clutched even in sleep, containing a ring she refused to sell no matter how desperate they became. The door chimed. Mia didn't look up immediately. Eye contact with the wrong person in this neighborhood could be dangerous. But sudden silence made her skin prickle. The handful of regulars had frozen mid-bite, staring at the entrance. He stood in the doorway like he owned not just the diner but the entire city. Custom-tailored black suit, Italian leather shoes, the quiet confidence of a predator who'd never known fear. His face was sharp angles and cold beauty, dark hair pushed back from features that could have been carved from marble. But his eyes, storm gray and absolutely ruthless, those were what stopped her breath. Within seconds, the diner emptied. Only Mia remained, plus Joey the cook hiding in back, and this dangerous stranger who chose the darkest corner booth. Mia grabbed a menu with trembling fingers. "Welcome to Rosie's. What can I get you?" He didn't glance at the menu. Those gray eyes locked onto hers with sniper precision. "Espresso. Double." His voice was gravel and smoke, traced with Sicilian heritage. "Coming right up." She fled to the coffee machine where Joey whispered urgently, "That's Dante Valenti, Don Valenti's son. They own half Brooklyn. Ruthless doesn't begin to cover it." Everyone knew the Valenti name, empire built on blood and loyalty. Mia's hands shook, preparing the espresso. When she served it, his hand emerged from his sleeve, and Mia's world stopped. On his right ring finger gleamed a ring that stole her breath. Heavy gold etched with a phoenix rising from flames. Wings spread wide, a single ruby set as its eye. The band crafted to look like tongues of fire. Impossible. Identical. She'd seen that exact ring her whole life in her mother's velvet box. Same phoenix, same ruby eye, same fire-wrought band. Elena had said it was one of a kind, given by Mia's grandfather on his deathbed. "Keep it safe," Elena would whisper. "It's proof of what was stolen." The words escaped before Mia could stop them. "My mother has a ring exactly like yours." Dante Valenti froze. Slowly he set down the cup, glacial eyes lifting. Casual dismissal gone, replaced by lethal focus. "Say that again," he commanded, voice dropping dangerously. Mia's survival instinct screamed run, but the image of Elena clutching that identical ring kept her rooted. The ring, the phoenix with the ruby eye. My mother has the same one, exactly the same. Something unreadable crossed his face. He examined the ring as if seeing it for the first time. Impossible. This ring has been in the Valenti family for 3 generations. There is only one. There has only ever been one. "But there isn't," Mia insisted desperately. "I've seen it my whole life." "Then your mother is either a liar or a thief." Dante leaned forward, temperature dropping. "Because the only way she has that ring is if it's the one stolen from my family 30 years ago. And in my family, we deal with thieves in very specific ways." The threat hung deadly in the air. Mia found her voice, her spine. "She's not a thief." Dante stood, pulling out $100 bills, more than she made in a week, for the coffee. His smile was sharp enough to cut. "Tell your mother the Valentis always collect what's ours. Always." He moved toward the door, but Mia's fury erupted. "She's not a thief." He paused without turning. "Then prove it. 48 hours." The door swung shut. The bell's chime sounded like a death knell. Mia stood frozen, knowing her simple observation had set something catastrophic in motion. The hospital drive was a blur. Elena looked smaller each day, translucent skin over bird bones. But her eyes, still sharp when they opened. "Mama, I need the truth. About the ring." Elena's body went rigid. The monitor spiked. "What happened?" "I saw it. The same ring, on Dante Valenti's hand." Color drained from Elena's face. "Valenti, Holy Mary, They found us. Mama, please. The deposit box. First National, Box 237. Elena's grip crushed despite weakness. But listen, your father wasn't a thief. The ring was his birthright, stolen before you were born. I don't understand. Your father wasn't just Marco Russo. Elena's tears flowed. He was Marco Valentini, the old Don's nephew. Mia's world shattered. Her gentle father, born into the Mafia. He fell in love with me, a nobody. His family forbade it. Elena smiled through tears. But Marco chose me, walked away from everything, changed his name, took construction work, built us a small life. The ring? Given to Marco on his 18th birthday. Symbol of Valenti bloodline. Proof of lineage. When he left, he took it. The family saw it as theft. Giovanni Valenti swore Marco would die. The pieces clicked sickeningly. They waited 16 years, let him build a life, then killed him. Giovanni is patient, cruel. He wanted Marco to suffer first, to have something precious, then lose it all. Elena sobbed. The accident was murder, a message. 48 hours had become 46, and Mia's life would never be the same. 3 days later, the name arrived encrypted from Genevieve Adler, Dante's lawyer. Owen Calloway. Meant nothing to Dante. He searched Valenti Holdings databases, employee records, contractors, century of dealings. Nothing. Too clean. Genevieve appeared at his office door, severe woman in tailored suit, holding a thin file. You won't like this. Inside were public records. Birth certificate, Elena Ann Calloway, Wilmington, Delaware. Father, Owen Calloway. Then another document, patent application from 1968. Inventor, Owen Calloway, novel gearing system for high-torque industrial turbines. Status, withdrawn. Dante's blood ran cold. He recognized the schematic, primitive precursor to the Valenti Mark III turbine that catapulted his grandfather's company to global powerhouse in early 70s, credited solely to William Valenti. Application withdrawn October 12, 1968, Genevieve stated. October 14th, Owen Calloway deposited $50,000. Quit his job a week later, never worked in engineering again. Died of heart attack 6 years later at 42. NDA. Cash payoff. Brilliant idea bought and buried. My grandfather stole his invention and paid him quiet, Dante said, words like ash. The $50,000 was likely consulting fee to keep it legal, no paper trail. Your grandfather was meticulous. And the ring? That's strange. Genevieve slid another document. Jeweler who bought Dubois Atelier assets. Ancient records, but meticulous ledgers. In 1922, Alaric Valenti commissioned 2 identical Phoenix signet rings. Paid for both. Artisan's note in margin. She slid translation. One for the builder, one for the dreamer. May they fly together. 2 rings. The family ghost story was true. So Calloway didn't steal it, Dante murmured. Someone gave it to him. But who? Why? The puzzle was no longer about a waitress. It was about his family's bedrock, built not on resilience, but lies. He had to speak to her again. Mia was wiping down the counter when Dante appeared in the doorway, city lights framing him dark. Ms. Russo, I need to speak with you. Outside, cool night air. Street loud with city sounds, stark contrast to tense silence between them. Your grandfather, Owen Calloway. Not a question. Mia flinched. How? Yes. What of it? Engineer. Filed patent 1968 for turbine gear system. My grandfather launched turbine based on identical design, made my family a fortune. Calloway withdrew patent, accepted cash. Mia's mind went blank. Her mother never spoke of Owen's work, only sadness. I don't know anything about that. I think you do. Or your mother does. Dante's voice sharpened. This isn't about a stolen ring. This is about a shakedown. Use this old story to leverage money for medical bills. The accusation was so cruel it knocked air from her lungs. Tears of rage sprang. How dare you? My mother is dying. You think this is about money? This is about honor. The honor of a man you admitted your family probably robbed. For the first time, Dante looked taken aback. He saw not a schemer, but a daughter pushed to breaking. My grandfather told my mother that ring was proof. Mia continued, voice rising. Proof he was wronged. He didn't take a payoff. He was threatened, forced to sign away his life's work to protect his family from men like your grandfather. That money wasn't payment, it was hush money. Dante was silent, city sounds rushing in, his certainty eroding. There were 2 rings, he said, voice losing its edge. My great-grandfather had 2 made. Family story is one brother was a traitor, cast out. He looked at her, searching. Was your grandfather friends with someone from my family? I've never heard any Valenti names except yours. Impasse. 2 families, 2 rings, 2 histories intersecting at single disputed point. My mother has the ring, Mia said, resolve hardening. You have your story. I have mine. I'm going to find which is true. Dante gave sharp nod. Condescension gone, replaced by grudging respect. So am I. He disappeared into shadows, leaving Mia with chilling realization their quest for truth was now inextricably, dangerously linked. That night, Mia returned to hospital with urgency. Found Elena sitting up stronger. Mom, we need to talk. No more secrets. Elena sighed, closed her book. I knew this day would come. Dante Valenti found me, knows about Granddad Owen, thinks we're blackmailing him. Elena's expression hardened. Blackmail? Your grandfather was a genius. Gentle soul who thought the world worked on merit. He developed that turbine on his own time. His masterpiece. She paused, gaze distant. He mentioned it to a colleague, trusting him. That colleague left for senior position at Valenti Industries. 6 months later, your grandfather received a visit from 2 men, persuaders. They worked for William Valenti. The room felt cold. What did they do? They didn't touch him. Smarter than that. Laid photographs on our kitchen table, pictures of me in schoolyard, your grandmother leaving grocery store. They told him what a beautiful family he had. Would be shame if something happened. Elena's voice dropped. Then papers, NDA, contract assigning rights to Shell Corporation, envelope of cash. Gangster tactics. He signed everything. What choice? Took the money because refusing would have been defiance and he was too scared. We moved. He was broken, Mia. They didn't just steal his work, they stole his soul. Died 6 years later. The truth is, they killed him that day. Tears streamed down Mia's face, finally understanding the deep sadness in her mother. But the ring, Mom, where does it fit? After Owen was forced out, he fell into depression. But one man sought him out, introduced himself only as Daniel, said he'd heard what happened, understood being betrayed by powerful family. They became friends, 2 broken men finding solace. Elena looked intense. Before Daniel left town, he gave Owen the ring, told him it symbolized a shared dream between brothers, forged in hope, tainted by greed. Keep it as proof integrity has value money can't buy. One day the phoenix will rise for the right person. So this Daniel wasn't a traitor. He was another victim. Gave his birthright to another wronged man as solidarity. There's more, Elena whispered. Daniel told Owen there was proof, documents, evidence that could bring down the entire Valenti empire, hidden where only someone with the right blood could find it. Owen wrote it. The phoenix knows where the phoenix flies. Mia's heart raced. Her grandfather had hidden something else, dangerous enough to die for, and somewhere in this city, it waited to be found. First National Bank's lobby smelled like old money and older secrets. Mia had barely slept, surviving on black coffee and adrenaline. She'd dressed carefully, black dress, the kind worn to funerals or final confrontations. Security eyed her suspiciously. She didn't belong in this marble temple, but key to box 237 was real, worn from Elena's anxious handling. I need to access my safety deposit box, Mia told Mrs. Chen, the severe clerk. Identification and key, please. Mrs. Chen's fingers flew across keyboard, then paused. Expression shifted, not fear, but wariness. One moment. She disappeared into back office. Through glass, Mia saw her make an urgent call. Something was wrong. Mrs. Chen returned with forced smile. Right this way. The vault was underground, stairs descending like entering a tomb. Solid steel walls, recycled air. Mrs. Chen used her key with Mia's. Box 237 slid out with metallic whisper. I'll give you privacy, Mrs. Chen said, but her eyes said, I've made a call. They're coming. Door closed. Mia alone with her father's final secret. Inside the box, velvet case, dark blue, worn. Hands trembling, she opened it. The phoenix ring gleamed identical to Dante's. Same goldwork, same ruby eye burning like captured fire. But lifting it, she noticed tiny letters engraved inside the band, almost invisible. She tilted toward light. Italian inscription, Sangue chiama sangue, sempre fedele. Blood calls to blood. Always loyal. Beneath the ring, envelope, yellowed, sealed with red wax bearing phoenix imprint. Her father Marco's handwriting. For Mia, when she's old enough to understand. 24 felt old enough. She broke the seal with shaking fingers. Single page, Marco's familiar hand. Urgency of dying man's confession. My sweet Mia, if you're reading this, Elena told you the truth about who I was, who you are. The ring you hold is proof of Valenti bloodline, one of two forged in 1922 by master jeweler for Alaric Valenti. Alaric gave one to his son Lorenzo, one to his son Giovanni. Symbols of unity and shared power. But power corrupts even brothers. When Lorenzo died, Giovanni took everything. Business, loyalty, respect. Said Lorenzo was weak. Gave Lorenzo's ring to his own heir. Erased Lorenzo from family history and tried to erase me. This ring is twin to the one Giovanni's heir wears. Proves the Valenti line split, that there were two heirs. I took it when I left because it was proof I existed, proof my father existed, proof Giovanni's claim to absolute power was a lie. I know Giovanni. He will wait, plan, strike when it brings maximum suffering. If I'm dead, he's won. But you, my daughter, you carry both bloodlines. You're the bridge no one saw coming. There's more. Another secret Giovanni killed to protect. I found proof that could bring down the entire Valenti empire. Hid it where only someone with my blood could find it. The phoenix knows where the phoenix flies. Be careful who you trust. The Valentis eat their own. Your father, who loved you more than life. Marco. Mia read it 3 times, heart thundering. Her father had hidden something else, something dangerous. Footsteps echoed in hallway. Multiple, heavy, purposeful. Mia shoved letter into purse, closed ring in fist. Door opened. Dante Valenti stood there, flanked by 2 men, muscle in expensive suits. Behind them, Mrs. Chen hovered nervously. I thought I'd save you the trip, Dante said, voice silk over steel. Give me the ring, Mia. This is a bank. Cameras, witnesses. Cameras are off. Witnesses are paid. Dante stepped into small room, walls closing in. You're out of time. Give me the ring. Mia's fingers tightened. My father's letter says this ring belonged to Lorenzo Valenti, that I'm a Valenti, whether you acknowledge it or not. Something flickered in Dante's eyes. You read his confession? I read his truth. Lorenzo Valenti had a son. Marco was your cousin, which makes me nothing. Dante cut off, uncertainty in his voice now. Family is more than blood. It's loyalty. Your father betrayed that. Giovanni betrayed Lorenzo, erased his own nephew from history. Enough. Dante's hand shot out, grabbing her wrist, not violently but with absolute authority, skin warm against hers. They both froze at contact, eyes locked, storm gray and turbulent, searching. The ring. Now. No. Dante's jaw clenched. He could take it, they both knew. But he didn't move, instead leaned closer, voice dropping dangerously intimate. You have no idea what you're playing with. That ring is a declaration of war. If the family sees you with it, knows who you are. He stopped, something like concern cracking his icy exterior. You think you're fighting for your father's memory? You're signing your own death warrant. Then why warn me instead of just taking it? The question hung between them, charged with something neither could name. Dante's grip on her wrist loosened but didn't release. Up close, she could see faint scar along jaw, weight of sleepless nights and shadows under eyes. "Because," he said finally, voice barely whisper, "your father was right about one thing. Blood calls to blood. And like it or not, we're bound by it now." He released her wrist, stepped back. "Keep the ring. For now. But tomorrow night, you come to the Valenti estate. Bring that ring and your father's letter. We're settling this the old way, with truth, with proof, with family counsel as witness. And if I refuse?" Dante's smile was cold but not cruel. "Then I stop being generous, and you stop breathing." He turned to leave, paused. "One more thing. Your father mentioned hiding proof that could destroy us. If you find it, if you even think about using it, understand you won't just be declaring war on me. You'll be declaring war on every family in New York. Think about whether your mother can survive that kind of attention." He left, men following like shadows. Vault door closed with hollow boom. Mia stood alone, ring burning in palm, father's letter heavy in purse, summons to Lion's Den ringing in ears. Tomorrow night, Valenti estate, truth and consequences. The phoenix knows where the phoenix flies. Somewhere in this city, her father had hidden evidence that could bring down an empire. And Dante Valenti had just told her exactly how much he feared it. Mia didn't return to the diner. She couldn't face normalcy when her entire world had been rewritten in her father's handwriting. Instead, she walked Brooklyn's streets as afternoon sun slanted through buildings, turning everything golden and dangerous. The phoenix knows where the phoenix flies. Where would a phoenix fly? Where would her father, careful, paranoid, hunted, hide something so explosive? Her phone rang. Unknown number. "Stop following me," Mia said without preamble. Dante's dark laugh crackled through speaker. "I'm not following you. I'm protecting you." "From what?" "From the 40 men who want you dead." Word spread, Mia. The old guard knows Lorenzo Valenti's line didn't die. They know there's a girl with a ring that challenges Giovanni's legacy, and they're not as patient as I am. Mia glanced over shoulder. Black SUV 3 cars back. But now she noticed others. Sedan with tinted windows, motorcycle at corner. Too many coincidences. "You're using me as bait. I'm keeping you alive long enough to get answers." He paused. "Where are you going?" "I don't know yet." "Liar. You're solving your father's riddle." He said it like he'd been puzzling too. Marco was construction worker after leaving the family. Worked for Castellano Brothers 15 years. They built half Brooklyn, including the old Valenti headquarters. Mia finished, pieces clicking. "Before your family moved to the estate, you operated out of building in Red Hook. Papa helped build it. Building's been abandoned for years, condemned." Dante's voice grew sharp with warning. "Don't. Mia, don't go there alone. It's not safe." "Why? What's there?" "Ghosts, memories, blood soaked into concrete. That's where Giovanni executed traitors, made examples. Your father watched men die in that building. Is that really where you want to search?" But Mia was already hailing cab, address burning in mind. "I'll see you tomorrow night, at your estate, with answers." She hung up before he could argue. The building rose from broken pavement like rotting tooth. Gray concrete scarred with graffiti and time. Windows gaped like empty eye sockets. Entrance chained with warnings about structural collapse. Mia found service entrance in alley. Rusted padlock broke under rock. Door groaned open, darkness swallowing her whole. Inside, air thick with decay and old violence. Phone's flashlight cut weak beam through dark, illuminating graffiti and rat droppings. She climbed stairs that creaked ominously. 4th floor, door different from others, marked with faded phoenix symbol most would mistake for graffiti. But Mia recognized the style. Her father used to doodle phoenixes. Door locked, but frame rotted. One kick, it splintered open. The room beyond took her breath away. Office frozen in time. Desk, filing cabinets, chair, all covered in dust. But on wall behind desk was mural. Massive phoenix, wings spread across entire wall. rising from flames that seemed to dance. In the Phoenix's chest, where heart would be, was safe embedded in wall. Mia approached with trembling hands. Combination lock old, mechanical. She tried her birthday, nothing. Parents' anniversary, nothing. Then remembered inscription in ring. Blood calls to blood, always loyal. Date Lorenzo Valenti died, her grandfather she'd never known. She tried those numbers, fingers clumsy with hope. Safe clicked, door swung open. Inside, documents, yellowed papers, photographs, ledgers. Note in her father's handwriting. For Mia, for justice, for truth. She pulled out first photograph, nearly dropped it. Showed younger Giovanni Valenti with city officials, politicians, police captains, all smiling, complicit. Next showed bags of cash exchanged. Ledgers documented payoffs, bribes, murders disguised as accidents, blackmail reaching highest levels of New York power. This wasn't just mafia business. This was proof of corruption network that owned the city. Final document, death certificate for Lorenzo Valenti. Cause, heart attack. But clipped to it, autopsy report from doctor whose name appeared in ledger receiving monthly payments. Amended cause in handwritten notes, poisoning. Arsenic, administered over months. Giovanni Valenti hadn't just taken his brother's empire. He'd murdered him for it. Footsteps echoed in stairwell. Multiple sets. Heavy. Professional. Mia's heart stopped. She shoved documents into bag. Footsteps grew closer. Voices now, low and purposeful. Saw her come in. Orders are clear, nothing left behind. They weren't Dante's men. She knew with bone-deep certainty. These were old guard. She looked frantically around. One window painted shut. One door leading to hallway where death climbed toward her. Phoenix mural seemed to watch with knowing eyes. She ran to window, used chair to smash through glass. Drop was 3 stories to alley below. Survivable if lucky, fatal if not. Footsteps reached door. She's in there. Mia climbed onto ledge, night air cold against face, documents clutched in one hand, father's ring in other. Door burst open. 3 men, guns drawn, eyes cold as execution. Mia jumped. Fall lasted forever and no time at all. She hit dumpster, impact driving air from lungs, pain exploding through ribs. But she was alive, gasping, crying, alive. Shouts from above. They were coming. She rolled off dumpster, nearly collapsing from pain, and ran, limped, dragged herself through alleys, through streets, each breath a knife. Car screeched beside her. Door flew open. Get in! Dante's voice, sharp with command and fear. Mia threw herself into car. It was moving before door closed. Through rear window, she saw men emerging, raising weapons. Dante swerved hard. Bullets sparked off pavement where they'd just been. Are you insane? He shouted, hands white-knuckled on wheel. I told you not to go alone. You followed me. Of course I followed you. You have a death wish. But his eyes, when they flicked to her, were dark with concern. Are you hurt? Ribs, maybe broken. He cursed in Italian. Hospital. No, they'll find me. She clutched bag. I got it, the proof. Everything Papa died to protect. Dante's jaw clenched. What did you find? The truth about how your uncle built his empire. On murder, bribery, and his brother's corpse. Car fell silent except for engine's roar and Mia's labored breathing. Dante drove them out of Brooklyn, across bridge, into darkness beyond city lights. Where are we going? Somewhere safe, somewhere even the family can't reach. He glanced at her, expression complicated, anger, admiration, something deeper. Tomorrow night's meeting just became a lot more dangerous for both of us. Why are you helping me? The question hung between them. Dante's hands tightened on wheel. Because you're right about my uncle, about the empire being built on lies. He turned to look at her fully, vulnerability in his eyes stealing her breath. And because you're the first person in my entire life who's ever told me the truth, even when it could get you killed. Dante drove to a cabin nestled in woods upstate, so far from city the stars actually shone. Rustic but comfortable, whispering of secrets and solitude. This is where I come when I need to think, Dante said, helping her from car. hand on her elbow gentle, careful of injuries. No one knows about it, not even my closest men. Inside, he guided her to leather couch, then disappeared. Mia sat clutching bag, every breath sending fire through ribs, adrenaline giving way to exhaustion. Documents felt like they weighed 1,000 pounds. Dante returned with first aid kit and whiskey. I'm not a doctor, but I've treated enough broken ribs to know basics. He knelt before her, usual cold authority replaced by focused concern. This is going to hurt. Everything hurts, Mia whispered. Fingers surprisingly gentle as he helped her out of jacket, carefully lifted shirt just enough to examine damage. Bruising was spectacular, purple and black spreading across ribcage. Nothing broken, I think, severely bruised. He wrapped her ribs with practiced efficiency, hands warm against skin. You're lucky. 3 stories onto dumpster. You should be dead. Papa always said I was stubborn enough to survive anything. Dante's hands paused. He looked up, face inches from hers, and for first time she saw past Mafia boss to man underneath. Marco was my cousin. I barely remember him. I was young when he left. But I remember he was kind. Giovanni said he was weak, but now I wonder if kindness was his real crime. Did you know? Mia asked. Did you know Lorenzo was poisoned? No. Word heavy with something like grief. I knew official story, heart attack, natural causes. Giovanni always spoke of Lorenzo with contempt, as if he'd died of weakness. He finished wrapping ribs, sat back. Show me what you found. Mia pulled documents from bag with shaking hands, spread them on coffee table, photographs, ledgers, doctored death certificate. Dante studied each one, expression growing darker, colder, until he looked like storm about to break. This is treason, he said finally. Not just against family, but against everything we're supposed to stand for. Honor, loyalty. He laughed bitterly. We're criminals, yes, but we had a code. This, gestured to evidence of corruption. This is just evil. Your uncle killed his own brother and built empire on corpse. What are you going to do about it? Dante stood, pacing like caged wolf. Giovanni is old now, retired. I run the family. But old guard, men who helped him build this nightmare, they're still in power. Underbosses, captains, soldiers who've committed murders for lies. He turned to her. If I expose this tomorrow night at council, it won't just destroy Giovanni's legacy. It'll tear entire family apart. There will be blood. War. And if you don't, then everything your father died for means nothing. Lorenzo's murder goes unpunished. Corruption continues. He came back to couch, sitting beside her, close enough she could feel his heat. And you stay in danger forever because old guard will never stop hunting you. They sat in silence, weight of impossible choices pressing down. Outside, wind whispered through pine trees. Inside, fire Dante had built crackled, casting dancing shadows. Why did you really bring me here? Mia asked quietly. You could have taken me to safe house with guards, but you brought me to your private place. Why? Dante quiet for long moment. When he spoke, voice was rough. Because every man in my organization would have reported to someone, would have told counsel, would have picked a side. He turned to look at her, intensity in gray eyes making breath catch. But I needed time to think without pressure, without politics. I needed to figure out what I believe, not what I should believe. And what do you believe? That you're either the bravest or most foolish woman I've ever met. That your father was murdered for being honorable in world that punishes honor. That my entire life has been built on my uncle's lies. He reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away, brush strand of hair from face. And that you've turned my world upside down in less than 48 hours. The touch sent electricity through Mia's body. She should pull away. He was Valenti, enemy, reason her father was dead. But his hand lingered, cupping her cheek, and she found herself leaning into it. I should hate you, she whispered. You should, he agreed. I should hate you too. Your threat to everything I've built, everything I am. But I don't. Confession seemed to cost him. For a moment you stood in that diner and defended your father's honor when you should have been terrified. I haven't been able to stop thinking about you. Your courage, your fire. The way you look at me like I'm just a man, not monster to fear. Mia's heart hammered against bruised ribs. You are just a man. A complicated, dangerous man with blood on his hands. But just a man. Dante's thumb traced her cheekbone. I've killed people, Mia. I've done terrible things in name of family, of business, of power. Your father, my cousin, I could have protected him if I'd known. But I was too young, too blind, too trusting of Giovanni's version of history. You can't change the past, Mia said, her hand coming up to cover his. But you can change what happens next. You have power to make this right. At what cost? War with old guard, blood in streets, my own death, possibly? At cost of finally being the man you pretend to be, Mia challenged. You say you're cleaning up family, making it honorable. Prove it. Stand with truth, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. They were so close now, breathing same air, space between them charged with everything they couldn't say. Dante's eyes dropped to her lips, and Mia's pulse thundered in ears. If I do this, he said, voice barely above whisper, if I stand with you tomorrow night, it changes everything. You understand that? It won't be Valenti against Russo. It'll be us against them. Together. Together, Mia echoed. Words seemed to break something in him. He leaned forward slowly, giving her every chance to stop this. But Mia didn't pull away. She met him halfway, and when their lips touched, it was like setting match to gasoline. Kiss was everything it shouldn't be. Desperate. Dangerous. Perfect. Dante's hand slid into her hair, gentle despite passion, mindful of injuries. Mia's good hand fisted in his shirt, pulling him closer, tasting whiskey and danger and something that felt impossibly like hope. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Dante rested forehead against hers. This is insane, he murmured. Completely, Mia agreed. Tomorrow night could end with both of us dead. I know. And I'm still going to do it. I'm going to stand with you, present that evidence, and let family burn if it has to. He cupped her face in both hands. Because you're right. Because my cousin deserves justice. Because Lorenzo deserves truth. And because I'm tired of being monster everyone expects me to be. They spent night talking, planning, preparing for battle ahead. Dante told her about family structure, who would stand with them, who would oppose. Mia studied documents, memorizing details, building their case. As dawn broke, painting cabin in shades of gold, they stood together at window, watching sunrise. Whatever happens tonight, Dante said, taking her hand, know that you changed me. In 2 days, you made me question everything, fight for something real. She squeezed his hand, feeling cool metal of Phoenix ring against skin. We're going to win. We have truth, and truth is weapon they can't fight. I hope you're right. He turned to her, serious. But if things go wrong, if it looks like we're losing, you run. Take those documents and disappear. Promise me. I'm not leaving you. Promise me, Mia. One of us has to survive to tell this story. She wanted to argue, but saw fear beneath his strength. Not fear for himself, but fear for her. I promise, she whispered. Dante nodded, then pulled her into his arms, careful of ribs, held her as sun climbed higher. Tonight they would walk into Lion's Den. Tonight they would face monsters who'd killed their fathers. Tonight Phoenix would either rise from ashes or burn completely. The Valenti estate sprawled across 20 acres of Long Island waterfront, fortress disguised as elegance. High walls, armed guards at every entrance, cameras missing nothing. Mia had dressed carefully, black dress, her father's ring on chain around neck, hidden beneath fabric. In her bag was enough evidence to destroy an empire. Dante had left before dawn to make preparations, position allies, prepare battlefield. He'd kissed her before leaving, hard and desperate, like soldier going to war. Now, as his car returned for her, Mia felt weight of what they were about to do. Inside that estate were men who'd killed for less than she was about to accuse them of. The driver met her eyes in rearview mirror. Boss says to tell you, the phoenix rises at midnight. Midnight. Council meeting started at 8. 4 hours to present their case, watch family tear itself apart, survive or die trying. The estate's main house was monument to blood money, marble floors gleaming, crystal chandeliers sparkling, art worth millions on walls that had witnessed murders. Staff moved like ghosts, eyes down. Dante met her in entrance hall, resplendent in black suit that made him look like Prince of Darkness. But his eyes, when they found hers, held warmth. "You came," he said simply. "Did you doubt I would?" "I hoped you wouldn't. I hoped you'd choose safety." He offered his arm. "But I'm glad you didn't." He led her through corridors lined with portraits of Valenti patriarchs, hard men with harder eyes. Near the end was Giovanni Valenti in his prime. Mia stopped, staring at face of man who'd ordered her father's death. "He's here," Dante said quietly. "Giovanni, I couldn't keep him away. This is still his house, his council. He's old, supposedly retired, but old guard still answers to him." They reached heavy oak doors. Beyond she heard voices, gruff, powerful, men accustomed to command. Dante squeezed her hand once. "Stay close. Don't speak unless asked directly. And if shooting starts, run." The doors opened. Council room was exactly as expected. Long table of dark wood, high-backed chairs occupied by men in expensive suits, air thick with cigar smoke. At head sat Giovanni Valenti, ancient and withered but with eyes still sharp as predators. Conversation died as Mia entered. 20 pairs of eyes tracked her with curiosity, suspicion, hostility. "Gentlemen," Dante said, voice commanding room. "Thank you for convening. I've brought someone with information relevant to our family's history and future." "You brought a woman to council?" A bull of a man spoke. "This is sacred space, Dante. No outsiders." "She's not an outsider." Dante pulled out chair for Mia at his right hand, position of honor and protection. "This is Mia Russo, daughter of Marco Russo, who some of you knew as Marco Valentini, Lorenzo Valenti's son. My cousin." The room exploded. Shouts, curses, denials. Hands moved toward weapons. But Dante raised his hand, and his authority silenced them. "She has proof of her lineage, and more importantly, proof of crimes that have poisoned this family for 30 years. Giovanni spoke, voice like grinding bones. "This is a trick, Dante. Marco Valentini died childless. Everyone knows this. Everyone knows the lie you told," Mia said, finding her voice. She stood, pulling chain from beneath dress. Phoenix ring swung free, and room gasped collectively. "The twin ring," someone whispered. "It exists." "Impossible," Giovanni snarled. "That ring was destroyed when Lorenzo died." "No," Mia interrupted, meeting old man's eyes. "That ring was given to Lorenzo's son, my father, as proof of his birthright. The birthright you stole when you poisoned your own brother." Absolute silence. Then Giovanni laughed, cruel and mocking. "Poisoned? Lorenzo died of weak heart. He died of arsenic poisoning, administered over 6 months." Mia pulled documents from bag, hands steady. "I have the real autopsy report. I have ledgers showing payments to doctor who falsified death certificate. I have photographs of you with city officials taking bribes, ordering murders." "Lies!" Giovanni roared, standing. "This girl is con artist, Dante. Can't you see?" "To what end, uncle?" Dante's voice was ice. "To get herself killed? To tear apart family for fun?" He took documents from Mia, began passing them around. "Look at them. These are in your handwriting, Giovanni. Your signatures, your crimes." Council members studied evidence with growing horror. Some learning truth for first time. Others seeing proof of crimes they'd participated in, now exposed. "You killed Lorenzo," Dante continued, voice tight with controlled rage. "You erased his son from family history. You ordered Marco's murder 16 years ago because he might tell truth. And you built our empire on corruption that makes us no better than criminals we claim to despise." "I built this empire from nothing," Giovanni slammed fist. "Lorenzo was soft, weak. I did what was necessary." "You committed fratricide," an older captain shouted. "There is no honor in that, Giovanni. You've damned us all." "The law is clear," another voice added. "Blood calls to blood. If this girl is truly Lorenzo's granddaughter, she has rights. She has nothing." Giovanni pulled gun, ancient reflexes still deadly, aimed at Mia's heart. Time slowed. Mia saw Dante move, putting his body between her and gun, saw other council members drawing weapons, choosing sides. Room was about to become massacre. "Stop!" Female voice, sharp with authority. A woman entered, elderly but regal, dressed in black with pearls. Entire room froze. "Mama," Dante breathed. Vittoria Valenti, Giovanni's sister, Dante's grandmother. The matriarch who supposedly never left her rooms. She walked to table with measured steps, gaze sweeping room like queen. When her eyes landed on Mia, they widened with recognition and sorrow. "You have Lorenzo's eyes," Vittoria said softly, "and his stubborn chin." She turned to Giovanni. "Put the gun down before I have my grandson put you down." "Vittoria, this doesn't concern—" "It concerns me greatly." Her voice carried weight of decades. "I stood silent when Lorenzo died, believing your lies. I stood silent when you exiled his son, believing it was family business. But I will not stand silent while you point gun at my great niece." Vittoria pulled photograph from her pocket, placed it on table. It showed two young men, nearly identical, arms around each other, laughing. Lorenzo and Giovanni, before power corrupted them. "I was there when you poisoned him," Vittoria said, each word a knife. "I didn't understand until years later. The slow decline. Symptoms. I confronted you once, and you threatened me with same fate." Tears traced her cheeks. "I've lived with that cowardice for 30 years, but no more." She turned to counsel. "This girl speaks truth. Giovanni murdered his brother, exiled his nephew, and built our empire on lies and blood. The question is simple. Do we continue to honor murderer's legacy, or do we finally choose honor?" Utter silence. Giovanni's gun wavered, lowered. He looked suddenly old, deflated, beaten. "Dante," Vittoria said, "what say you? You are Don now. The family's future is in your hands." Dante stood tall. "Giovanni Valenti, for the murder of Lorenzo Valenti, for crimes against family and violations of our sacred code, I strip you of all titles, all honors, all protections. You are no longer Valenti. You are nothing." The council erupted in discussion, but Vittoria raised her hand. "Those who stand with old ways, with Giovanni's corruption, leave now. Those who stand with honor, with Dante, with truth, stay and help us rebuild." One by one, men made their choices. Some left. Most stayed. The phoenix had risen, and the empire would never be the same. The council meeting ended not with violence but with votes, restructuring of power, purging of corruption, beginning of something new. Giovanni was taken into custody by his own family to face their justice. Old guard was systematically removed, peacefully when possible, forcefully when necessary. Through it all, Dante commanded with steady authority, and Mia stood beside him. Proof that truth could win even in world built on lies. But as a state emptied and dawn approached, Mia felt weight of what came next. She'd won justice for her father, exposed truth, survived impossible. Now came hardest part, walking away. She found Dante on terrace, overlooking ocean as first light painted sky. He stood with hands in pockets, shoulders tense, radiating barely controlled emotion. "It's done," Mia said softly, joining him at railing. "Almost." He didn't look at her, jaw tight. "You're leaving." It wasn't a question. That was the deal. I get my life back. You get your family back. We both get justice. Justice. He laughed, bitter and broken. Is that what this hollow feeling is? Because it feels more like loss. Dante, don't. He finally turned to her, anguish in his eyes stealing her breath. Don't make this easier. Don't be understanding or kind. Let me be angry that you're walking away after turning my entire world upside down. You knew this was how it had to end. I'm not part of your world. Aren't you? He stepped closer, intensity of physical force. You stood before most dangerous men in New York and didn't flinch. You presented evidence that could have gotten you killed with steady hands. You changed course of criminal empire in 2 days. How is that not part of this world? Because I don't want it to be. Mia's voice cracked. I don't want to spend my life looking over my shoulder, wondering if today's the day someone decides I'm a threat. I don't want to watch you make impossible choices, order terrible things, carry weight of all that blood. I want... She stopped, tears threatening. What? Tell me what you want, Mia. I want normal. I want to finish college, get a job that doesn't involve bullets or betrayal, maybe fall in love with someone uncomplicated. The words died as Dante's expression shattered. Someone uncomplicated, he repeated softly. Someone who isn't a criminal. Someone who doesn't have blood on his hands and death in his shadow. He touched her face with infinite gentleness. Someone who isn't me. It's not that simple. It's exactly that simple. His thumb brushed away a tear she didn't know had fallen. I'm offering you everything. My protection, my resources, my heart. But I can't offer you normal. I can't offer you safe. And you deserve both. Dante, Mia's voice broke completely. Because he was right. Because she did want normal. But she also wanted him. And those two things existed in opposition. Go, he whispered. Before I do something selfish like beg you to stay. I can't just leave you. You can. You will. He pulled something from pocket. A key. There's an apartment in Manhattan. Penthouse. Fully paid for. In your name. Accounts set up for your mother's medical care. For your education. Everything you need to build that normal life. Mia stared at Key, her heart cracking. This is goodbye. This is me letting you go. Because I love you too much to trap you in my world. The confession hung between them, raw and devastating. I've loved you since you stood in that diner and defended your father's honor. I've loved you through every dangerous, foolish, brave thing you've done. And because I love you, I'm giving you the choice I never had. The choice to walk away. The tears fell freely now. And if I don't want to walk away, then I'll spend every day terrified that my world will destroy you. That my enemies will use you against me. That you'll wake up one morning and realize you've become something you never wanted to be. He kissed her forehead, lingering, memorizing. I won't do that to you, Tesoro. I won't watch the light die in your eyes because of me. So this is it? We pretend the last 2 days didn't happen? No. Dante pulled her against him, and she felt his heart racing against hers. We remember them, we carry them. And maybe, his voice roughened with emotion, maybe someday, if you've built that normal life and still want something more, you know where to find me. They stood wrapped in each other as sun rose fully, painting world in gold and possibility. Mia breathed him in, expensive cologne and danger, and the man underneath it all. She memorized feel of his arms, steady beat of his heart, the way he held her like she was both precious and breakable. I should hate you, she whispered against his chest. I know. I should be relieved to escape this world. You should. But all I feel is broken. His arms tightened. Me too, amore, me too. They pulled apart slowly, reluctantly, like continents drifting. Dante placed Key in her hand, fingers lingering over hers. Take care of yourself, Mia Russo. Build something beautiful. Be happy. His smile was devastation itself. And don't look back. Mia wanted to argue, to fight, to refuse this ending. But she saw resolve in his eyes, sacrifice he was making because he loved her. And maybe that was love, letting someone go even when it destroyed you. Goodbye, Dante, she whispered. She walked away without looking back, even though every step felt like dying. She climbed into car he'd arranged, gave driver her mother's hospital address, and didn't let herself cry until estate disappeared from view. Then she shattered completely. 3 months later, Mia moved Elena to private facility with best care money could buy. Elena's health stabilized, treatments working small miracles. She enrolled at Columbia, studying business because she wanted to build something legitimate, something clean. The penthouse Dante had given her was beautiful. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park, tasteful furniture, everything she'd thought she wanted. It was empty. She saw his name in papers occasionally. Dante Valenti restructures family business. Valenti Holdings goes legitimate. He was doing it. Everything they'd fought for, he was making real. But articles never included his picture anymore, as if he was deliberately avoiding spotlight, avoiding her seeing his face and remembering. Mia threw herself into school, into caring for Elena, into building that normal life. She went on dates with classmates, nice boys with clean hands and simple dreams. She smiled, she laughed, she pretended her heart wasn't buried in mansion on Long Island. Then one night Elena called with unusual urgency. "There's someone here to see you, in the garden." Mia's heart stopped. "Who?" "Go see for yourself, baby." The facility's garden was beautiful in autumn evening, leaves falling like golden rain, and there, on bench beneath maple tree, sat a figure in expensive coat. Not Dante, Vittoria Valenti. "Mrs. Valenti," Mia said, surprise and disappointment warring in her chest. "What are you doing here?" "Sit, child." Vittoria patted bench. "We need to talk about my stubborn grandson." Mia sat, confused. "Is he all right?" "Physically, yes. In every other way." Vittoria's smile was sad. "He's dying by inches, Mia. He runs business brilliantly. He's transforming family, honoring Lorenzo's memory, making everything legitimate just like you wanted. But he's hollow, a ghost going through motions. I don't understand why you're telling me this." "Because he won't. Because he's too noble, too self-sacrificing to admit that letting you go destroyed him." Vittoria took Mia's hand. "He thinks he's protecting you by staying away. But tell me, child, do you feel protected? Or do you feel like you're missing half your soul?" The question hit like physical blow. Mia had spent 3 months trying to convince herself she was happy, that this was what she wanted. But truth was, she felt exactly like Vittoria described. Hollow, incomplete, going through motions of life that felt borrowed. "It doesn't matter what I feel," Mia said. "I'm not part of that world." "What world?" Vittoria challenged. "The legitimate business world? Because that's what we are now, thanks to you. The Valenti family has gone clean. Legal operations, charitable foundations, legitimate power. You changed us, Mia. You made us into something worthy. But it's still dangerous. Life is dangerous. Love is dangerous. Happiness is dangerous because we can lose it." Vittoria squeezed her hand. "I loved my husband deeply. He was a complicated man, powerful man, sometimes dangerous man. But I never regretted one moment of loving him, even when that love brought pain." Tears pricked Mia's eyes. "I'm scared." "Of course you are. So is Dante. He's terrified that his world will destroy you, so he destroyed himself instead to keep you safe." Vittoria stood, pulling envelope from coat. "He doesn't know I'm here. He'd be furious if he knew. But I'm an old woman who's watched too many people sacrifice happiness for fear. Don't make same mistake, child." She pressed envelope into Mia's hands. "That's an address. He's there tonight, alone, trying to drink away memory of you. What you do with that information is your choice, but choose carefully, because this is the choice that defines rest of your life." Vittoria walked away, leaving Mia alone with envelope and impossible decision. Inside was simple address, cabin upstate. Same cabin where Dante had taken her that first night, where they'd planned their battle, where they'd first kissed. He'd kept it. After everything, he'd kept their place. The smart choice was to throw envelope away, to continue building safe, normal life. The smart choice was to forget dangerous man who'd stolen her heart. But Mia had never been very good at smart choices. She borrowed her mother's nurse's car and drove. By the time she pulled up to cabin, her heart was trying to escape her chest. Lights glowed in windows. Smoke curled from chimney. He was there. The cabin door opened before she reached it. Dante stood backlit by firelight, disheveled in ways she'd never seen. Shirt untucked, hair mussed, barefoot. He looked at her like she was ghost, dream, hallucination. "Mia?" Her name was Prayer, question, plea. Your grandmother is meddling, woman, Mia said, voice shaking. My grandmother is... He stopped. Vittoria sent you here. She told me you were hollow, dying by inches, going through motions. Mia stepped closer. Is it true? Dante's laugh was broken. She had no right. Is it true, Dante? His mask cracked. The control, authority, careful distance, all shattered, leaving only raw truth. Yes, he whispered. Every minute without you is dying. Every day of this normal you wanted for me feels like prison. But I still think letting you go was right choice. What if I disagree? Mia closed distance between them. What if I've spent 3 months trying to build that normal life and all I've built is beautiful cage? What if safe and boring isn't what I want anymore? Mia, you can't mean... I love you. Words exploded out of her, fierce and unstoppable. I've loved you since you stood between me and Gun. Since you chose truth over empire. Since you let me go because you thought it would make me happy. But here's the thing, Dante. Nothing makes me happy without you. You deserve better. I deserve to choose. She grabbed his shirt, pulled him close. You gave me choice, remember? You let me go so I could choose. Well, I'm choosing. I'm choosing complicated and dangerous, and you. The family is legitimate now. You said it yourself. We changed everything. It's not same world my father ran from. It's not perfect, but it's different. Better. She cupped his face, forcing him to meet her eyes. And I'm not asking to join family business. I'm asking to join your life, however that looks, whatever that means. Dante stared at her like he was afraid to hope. You're sure? Because once I let myself believe this, once I let myself have you, I won't be able to let go again. I'm sure. Mia smiled through tears. I've spent 3 months trying to convince myself I could live without you. I can't. I don't want to. So you're stuck with me, Dante Valenti. For better or worse. For complicated and dangerous and everything in between. The last of his resistance crumbled. He pulled her against him, lifting her off her feet, burying his face in her neck. God, I've missed you, every second, every breath. Then stop wasting time on noble sacrifices and kiss me. He did, and it was coming home, finding missing piece, feeling whole for first time in months. They kissed like they were drowning and each other was air, like they were making up for lost time and promising forever simultaneously. When they finally broke apart, both breathless and laughing through tears, Dante carried her inside, kicking door shut. He set her down by fire, then dropped to his knees before her. I want to do this right, he said, pulling small box from pocket. I bought this the day after you left, carried it everywhere like talisman, reminder of what I'd lost. He opened it, revealing ring, white gold with perfect diamond, flanked by 2 smaller stones. That's Phoenix design. Because you're my Phoenix, Mia. You rose from ashes of tragedy and saved me from becoming monster I was meant to be. Dante, marry me, Mia. Build life with me. Not in shadows, not in fear, but in light, as equals, as partners. Mia dropped to her knees in front of him. Yes. 1,000 times yes. He slipped ring onto her finger. Then he kissed her again, and kiss was promise. Of challenges faced together, of happiness fought for and won, of love stronger than fear. The phoenix had risen, and this time it would never fall again. The announcement of Dante Valenti's engagement to Mia Russo sent shockwaves through New York. Some saw it as love, Don falling for brave woman who changed him. Others saw it as strategic, legitimizing family through Lorenzo's bloodline. But those close to them saw truth, 2 broken people healing each other, 2 phoenixes rising together. Elena Russo cried when they told her, but they were tears of joy. Your father would be so proud, she whispered to Mia, holding both her daughter and Dante's hands. Marco loved you so much, Dante. He talked about his little cousin, the boy who asked too many questions and dreamed of making things right. He would love that you found each other. The wedding was planned for spring, but first came work of transformation. Dante had restructured family operations, but old habits died hard. There were still territories to manage, still men who remembered old ways and chafed under new rules. And there were enemies, other families who saw Valenti's reformation as weakness, as opportunity. Mia threw herself into Lorenzo and Marco Foundation, working with families destroyed by organized crime. She helped them find justice, protection, new starts, and slowly she began to understand her father's world, not violence but complexity, the way loyalty could be beautiful and terrible, the way power could protect or destroy. "You're good at this," Dante said one evening, finding her in Foundation office surrounded by case files. "You have your father's heart for justice and Lorenzo's strategic mind." "I'm learning from the best," Mia said, pulling him down for kiss. "You've taught me that power isn't inherently evil. It's what you do with it that matters." But Past wasn't finished with them yet. 2 months before wedding, Stranger appeared at Foundation. He was old, weathered, with haunted eyes and trembling hands. He asked specifically for Mia Russo, said he had information about Marco Valentini's death. Mia met him in her office, Dante by her side, security discreetly positioned outside. The man introduced himself as Eddie Russo. No relation, he clarified. He'd been foreman at construction site where Marco died. "It was an accident," Eddie said, voice cracking. "I've carried this guilt for 16 years, but I can't die with this on my soul." He pulled out photographs, old, faded, showing construction site on day of Marco's death. Giovanni Valenti's men were there. They tampered with equipment. I saw them, but I was too scared to say anything. Your father died because I was coward. Mia felt old rage returning, grief resurging, but Dante's hand found hers, steady and grounding. "Giovanni is already facing family justice," Dante said quietly. "He'll spend what's left of his life imprisoned, powerless, watching everything he built transform into something he doesn't recognize. That's worse punishment than death for a man like him. But this man..." Eddie looked at Mia with pleading eyes. "Your father. He was kind to me. Talked about his little girl all time, showed me pictures. He was so proud of you. I need you to know he didn't suffer. It was quick. And his last words..." Eddie's voice broke. He said, "Tell my girls I love them." The tears Mia had been holding back fell freely. Dante pulled her against him as Eddie continued. "He knew, didn't he?" Mia whispered. "Papa knew they were coming for him. That's why he wrote that letter, hid evidence. He knew." "He chose to face it rather than run," Dante said. "He chose to protect you and your mother over saving himself. That's the kind of man he was, the kind of Valenti he was." Eddie gave them everything. His testimony, more photographs, documentation that filled in final pieces of puzzle. With his evidence, combined with what Mia had found, case against Giovanni was airtight. As Eddie left, Mia felt something shift inside her. The quest for justice that had driven her for months was complete. Giovanni would pay. Truth was known. Her father's name was cleared. Now came harder work. Building future, not just avenging past. "I need to do something," Mia said that night, lying in Dante's arms in Penthouse. "For Papa, something more than just justice." "What are you thinking?" "A scholarship fund for children of construction workers, especially those who've lost parents to workplace accidents." She turned to face him. "In Marco Russo's name. Let his legacy be education, opportunity, chance to build something better." Dante smiled, and it was genuine smile she loved, one that made him look young and hopeful. "That's perfect. We'll fund it through Foundation, make it big enough to help hundreds of kids. And I want to expand Foundation's work, not just families affected by crime, but anyone trapped by circumstances, by systems designed to keep them down. I want to give people same choice you gave me, choice to build different life." "You're going to change the world, aren't you?" Dante said it with wonder, with pride. "We're going to change it," Mia corrected. "Together." The next challenge came from unexpected source, Dante's own circle. At meeting of restructured family leadership, one of younger captains, man named Tony, who'd supported their reforms, asked question others were thinking. "What happens to succession?" Tony asked carefully. I'm not trying to cause trouble, but family needs to know. If something happens to you, Dante, God forbid, who leads? We're not same family we were, so old rules might not apply. It was fair question. Traditional succession would pass to Dante's closest male relative, but he had no brothers, no sons. His cousins were either too young or had chosen civilian life. The succession passes to whoever is best suited to lead, Dante said firmly. Gender, bloodline, those old prejudices end with us. Next leader will be chosen for their character, their vision, their commitment to family's new path. He looked at Mia, and she knew what he was thinking before he said it. And if Mia chooses to lead alongside me now, and after me someday, then she leads. Lorenzo's granddaughter, Marco's daughter, there's no pure Valenti bloodline, no one with more right. The room erupted in discussion. Some supported it immediately, others needed convincing. But Vittoria, present as family matriarch, raised her hand for silence. In old country, she said, voice carrying authority, we had queens as well as kings. Leaders were chosen for wisdom, not just tradition. If Dante says Mia is worthy, and I see that she is, then any who oppose her oppose me. Her gaze swept room, daring disagreement. The vote, when it came, was unanimous. Mia was recognized not just as Dante's fiancée, but as co-leader of transformed Valenti family. It was terrifying and empowering in equal measure. That night, lying awake while Dante slept, Mia thought about journey from waitress to this, partner to reformed crime boss, co-leader of family empire, champion of lost and forgotten. Her father would have been amazed. Or maybe not. Maybe Marco had always known his daughter had this strength inside her. She pulled out Phoenix ring, her father's ring, now hers by right, and studied it in moonlight. Ruby eyes seemed to wink at her, knowing and proud. We did it, Papa, she whispered. We changed everything, just like you hoped we would. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. There would be enemies to face, reforms to implement, family to guide into uncertain future. But tonight, Mia Russo, Mia Valentini soon, felt at peace. The phoenix had risen, the empire was transformed, and love had won over fear. The foundations were laid. Now came the building. Spring arrived in New York like promise kept, painting city in blossoms and possibility. Mia stood before full-length mirror in suite at Plaza Hotel, hardly recognizing woman staring back. Wedding dress was elegant simplicity, white silk that flowed like water, lace sleeves that whispered against skin. But it was her eyes that had changed most. No longer haunted by grief and fear, they shone with purpose and joy. You look like Queen, Elena said from wheelchair, tears streaming. Her health had improved dramatically with proper care, giving her strength to see this day. Marco would burst with pride. I wish he could be here, Mia whispered. He is, baby. Every moment he's here. Vittoria entered, regal in silver, carrying velvet box. Something old, from family. She opened it to reveal diamond tiara that had belonged to Dante's great-grandmother. You're Valenti now, even before vows. Wear it with honor. As Vittoria placed tiara on Mia's head, there was knock. Elena wheeled over to answer, and Mia heard her gasp. Is she... can I... A man's voice, rough with emotion. Mia turned to find stranger in doorway, elderly, distinguished, with eyes that mirrored her own. He was flanked by security, but his focus was entirely on her. Who? Mia started. This is Antonio Valentini, Vittoria explained gently. Lorenzo's younger brother, your great-uncle. He's been living in Italy for 40 years, but I tracked him down. He wanted to meet you. Antonio stepped forward slowly, as if approaching something precious and fragile. Mia, he breathed. You have Lorenzo's spirit in your eyes, and Marco's gentle heart in your smile. Tears tracked down weathered face. I ran when Giovanni took over. Too much coward to fight. I've regretted it every day. But seeing you now, knowing you did what I couldn't, you restored our family's honor. He pulled photograph from pocket. 3 young men, arms linked, laughing. Lorenzo, Giovanni, and me, before power poisoned us. Keep this. Remember we weren't always broken. Remember that love existed before the fall. Mia took photograph with trembling hands. Will you walk with my mother? To give me away? Papa would want family, real family, to be part of this. Antonio's sob was answer enough. The ceremony was held in estate gardens, transformed into something magical. White flowers cascaded everywhere, hundreds of candles waiting for sunset. The guest list was unprecedented. Reformed family members alongside former enemies, now allies, business leaders beside foundation beneficiaries, old world meeting new. As processional music began, Mia walked between her mother's wheelchair and Antonio's steady presence, feeling both her fathers, one she'd known, one she'd never met, in every step. And there, at end of aisle, stood Dante. He looked devastating in black tuxedo, but it was his expression that made her breath catch. Pure love, wonder, and something like reverence. As Antonio placed Mia's hand in Dante's, he whispered, "Protect her as Lorenzo should have been protected. Love her as Marco loved. Build something worthy." "I will," Dante vowed, "with my life." The ceremony was traditional and revolutionary at once. They spoke vows they'd written themselves, promising not just love and fidelity, but partnership in transformation, dedication to justice, commitment to building legacy worthy of those they'd lost. "I vow to honor your father's sacrifice by being man worthy of his daughter's love," Dante said, voice steady despite emotion. "I vow to build empire of light with you, where our children will know honor over fear, love over power, truth over lies. I vow to stand beside you in every battle, to share every burden, to celebrate every victory," Mia responded. "I vow to remember where we came from while building toward where we're going. And I vow to love you, complicated, dangerous, perfect you, every day for rest of our lives." When officiant pronounced them married, their kiss was witnessed by families spanning divide between old and new, criminal and legitimate, past and future. And in that moment, transformation was complete. The reception was jubilant. Speeches ranged from heartfelt to hilarious. They danced their first dance to song about rising from ashes, and Mia rested her head on Dante's chest, feeling his heart beat steady and strong. "What are you thinking?" he murmured. "That we did it. Despite everything, violence, loss, fear, we did it. We found each other. We changed the world." "We're just beginning," Dante corrected. "This is foundation. Now comes real work, raising kids in this world, guiding family through decades of change, facing whatever enemies rise." "Bring it on," Mia said fiercely. "We're phoenixes, remember? We rise." As night deepened, Mia found herself on terrace with Elena, watching celebration through windows. "Your father came to me in dream last night," Elena said softly. "He told me to give you something." She pulled letter from purse, old, sealed, in Marco's handwriting. "He wrote this week, before he died. Made me promise to give it to you on your wedding day." Mia's hands shook as she opened it. Marco's familiar script. "My dearest Mia, if you're reading this on your wedding day, it means I'm gone. It means I didn't get to walk you down aisle, to threaten your future husband, to cry like fool while my little girl becomes woman. But I also know that if you've found someone worthy of marriage, you've found someone extraordinary. Because you, my darling daughter, are extraordinary. Smart, fierce, compassionate, everything I hoped you'd be. I lived 2 lives, one as Marco Valentini, trapped in world of violence, and one as Marco Russo, free to love your mother and you. The second life was shorter, harder, but infinitely better, because it was built on truth and love. Whatever you choose, wherever you go, remember, you are both Valentini and Russo. You carry strength of powerful lineage and heart of someone who chose love over power. That combination makes you unstoppable. Build something beautiful, my phoenix. Rise from whatever ashes life creates. And know that I loved you beyond measure, beyond reason, beyond death itself. Your father, who will always be watching over you. Marco." Mia clutched letter to chest, tears streaming. Elena wrapped arms around her daughter. "He knew," Mia whispered. "Somehow, He knew I'd find my way here, that I'd take everything he gave me and build something worthy. Dante found them there, instinctively knowing Mia needed him. He read letter over her shoulder, then pulled both women into embrace. "We'll make him proud," he promised. "Every day, every choice, every battle, we'll make them all proud." As midnight approached, Mia had one final thing to do. She gathered family, Vittoria, Antonio, reformed members, foundation beneficiaries. In center of garden, she placed 2 rings side by side on pedestal, her father's phoenix ring and Dante's twin. "These rings were made as symbols of unity," she said, voice carrying in quiet night. "They were separated by greed and fear, but tonight, they're reunited. Let them remind us that what's broken can be healed, that phoenixes rise, that love wins." She picked up her father's ring and placed it on Antonio's finger. This was Lorenzo's legacy, passed to his son, kept safe through tragedy. "Now it passes to you, uncle, representing family we were before corruption." Then she turned to Dante, took his ring, and placed it on chain around her own neck. "And this represents what we're building, family of honor, of light, of love. We carry it together, equal partners in this new empire." The gathering erupted in applause, and as fireworks exploded overhead, painting night in gold and silver, Mia and Dante stood together, hands clasped, faces tilted toward light. They had faced death and betrayal. They had uncovered century-old lies. They had transformed criminal empire into something worthy. And they had found, against impossible odds, love that would define generations. The phoenix had risen. The empire was reborn. And the future, their future, burned bright with possibility. 5 years later, the Foundation's annual gala had become one of New York's premier events. Mia stood on stage, 5 months pregnant with their second child, their daughter Sophia, sleeping in Dante's arms beside her. 5 years ago, I was waitress who noticed ring. That observation changed everything. Tonight, we announce completion of Lorenzo, Daniel, and Marco Valentini Community Center, place where families can find help, hope, and chance to build something better. Because that's what phoenixes do. We rise, we rebuild, we remember, and we never give up. The applause was thunderous, and as Mia looked at her family, her husband, her daughter, her mother healthy and smiling, her extended family of reformed souls, she thought of her father's final words, "Build something beautiful." She had. They all had. And the phoenix's flight had only just begun. If you enjoy stories like this, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. That's how I'll know you truly liked it. Even if you're watching on your TV, grab a second to join this family of fans who love emotional and heartfelt stories. Your support means everything, and it helps us bring you even more tales like this one.